There is a whole class of projects that are so large and complex that they require finer ways of organizing, sorting, filtering, and deciding what information to present. For such projects, it often makes sense to break them into phases. We do this partly because they are so big and complex, but also because of budget limitations, since we often cannot do everything at once with limited resources. This campus quad project, for example, with more than one building, could span over so many years that it makes it an ideal candidate for phasing. To initiate phasing, we click Phases on the Manage toolbar. There are two default phases, existing and new construction. From this dialog, we can add as many new phases as needed to complete our new construction. For our purposes, we will have phases that match the completion of each quad building. Phase 1 ends with the completion of quad building 1, and Phase 2 with quad building 2. The Phase Filter tab shows the default filters, defining how each of the phase statuses is shown, either by category, overridden, or not displayed at all. The graphic overrides contain those overrides pertaining to each of the 4 phase statuses: new, existing, demolished, and temporary. There is a time order from past to future implied here in this list, and you can edit that as needed at any point. Every object and every view in the model is associated with phases through its phase properties. As we will see later, every object is created in a certain phase and demolished in a certain phase. It is with these critical variables that we control when things appear or disappear in views. First, we're going to duplicate views in order to create separate versions of each view, each with a different phase filter that highlights or diminishes the appearance of elements based on when they were created or demolished. We'll define a Phase 1 only view, Phase 2 planning, which emphasizes the new design as opposed to the prior existing phase. And Phase 2 all, which shows the cumulative model of all current and prior phases. We'll duplicate for all plan views. And we'll do the same for 3D views. As we mentioned before, we need to assign phase properties to the elements. At the moment, everything is in Phase 1. Let's send quad building 2 into Phase 2. We'll select all and filter to make sure we didn't inadvertently grab more than we needed. And here, the last items in the instance properties are the phase properties. Let's change the phase created to Phase 2. And since this is new construction, we'll leave the phase demolished as none. It seems we didn't get all the columns. With a drag select, we can send those easily to Phase 2 as well. The only step remaining is to assign phase properties to the views themselves so that they know how to properly display the elements from each phase. The two phase properties are the phase and the phase filter. Our views named Phase 1 only will have Phase 1 as the phase, and for the filter, show previous plus new. This will show only the model elements for quad building 1. Our Phase 2 completed has Phase 2 as the phase, and show completed for the phase filter, which shows the aggregate of the current and all previous phases. Finally, Phase 2 planning has Phase 2 as the phase and show previous plus new as the phase filter. We'll see that this phase filter has overrides defined that gray out the previous phase, making the quad building 2 or the plan design more prominent. And in this way, we can better organize and visualize complex projects in separate phases.